All right, this is Brett Marvick with BP Kitchen Equipment. We have here a 2018 Bizerba GSP H slicer. This also has illuminated knob. The slicer is overall in pretty good shape. Normally the nicks and dings on these slicers is on the corners. This honestly doesn't really have anything. It's in really good shape overall. The gauge plate has a little bit of wear and tear, but honestly not that much. And the blade is also in really good shape. See here it has plenty of lifespan left. It's been cleaned and sanitized. I'll get to this later, but while I have this gauge plate off, I'll also let you know that something we do here at BP is we make sure, so you really have two consumable parts on this. You have the blade, and you have the remnant holder. Those are really the only two consumable parts. We make sure that the blade, which is the most important, has at least 66% of its lifespan left. So you can see here that there's a gap right in there. Bizerba has a 1 millimeter gap from the factory, and they recommend to replace it when it gets to 6. So that's 5 millimeters. We have at least 66% of that still on here. So this blade is going to have at least 66%. It's going to have at least, 2/3 of its lifespan left. While I'm talking about what we do here at BP, I'll also just let you know, it's hard to do with one hand. I'll let you know what we do for our equipment. So we fully refurbish. We basically just service the equipment before we ship it to you. I don't just test and wipe down anything. A lot of eBay sellers just turn it on, make sure that it moves back and forth, that this spins. And here at BP, we don't just take it off a pallet, wipe it down, take a video and send it to you, but we actually make sure that all this is fully functioning. So I double check the electrical, I check the settings, I make sure that the mechanical is functioning well, I lubricate everything. I actually remove this gauge plate, this carriage, the carriage arm, the blade and the blade cover. I remove everything off, we go through and we degrease everything, we sanitize everything, and then I reassemble it after it's cleaned and lubricated back together. We just do a very thorough job of servicing. We don't want to have any returns. We cover everything by 120-day warranty. We really just want to make sure that you get a fully functioning product, that you leave us a good review, and that we do good business. So as I said, the electrical, the mechanicals are checked. Each slicer takes anywhere from 3 to 7 hours. We also make sure that I'll show you this right now. We make sure that the blade is going to be sharp for you in addition to just its lifespan. So, as you pull it off the pallet, this blade will be sharp enough to cut a sheet of paper, no problems. Something else we do is we actually calibrate the gauge plate. So these aren't arbitrary numbers. So this 0.5 is actually a half of a millimeter. This is 1 millimeter. 3, so on and so forth. I make sure that this is reasonably accurate. I focus on this low end, so 0.5 through 2. I make sure that that is pretty accurate, and then everything else normally just falls into place. Something else we do, so I double check, make sure that the safety switch calibration is done correctly. Whenever it's on, it flashes, and then whenever the carriage is closed and the gauge plate can be opened, it is a solid red. Something else that we do, when we calibrate this gauge plate, I make sure that as it would come from Bizerba, this gauge plate sits about 1.5 millimeters above the blade. It's just a safety mechanism. Bizerba does that to make sure that your employees, whoever, if they ever pull the carriage back and are cleaning this, and the blade is running, you just can't cut yourself. It's very safe. We get them in all kinds of ways, and we usually just bring them up to this. Something else about the calibration. So this blade is currently exposed, right? It can actually cut items right now. From Bizerba, you should not be able to pull this carriage back. We make sure that it does that. That way you can't pull the carriage back, have an exposed blade, and run your finger right in there. But whenever you close the gauge plate, and it is safe, you can pull the carriage back. just one of the things we do. Not only do we make sure that everything's working as it ought to, you're not going to have a service guy have to come out there and repair anything, but we also just want to make sure it's safe. As I said, everything is covered by a 120-day warranty. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll do my best to answer. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a good day.